to master a new language, one must first master the art of listening, not just to the words, but to the rhythm and the melody behind them. Today's story is about the transformative power of listening, and it is also your opportunity to enhance your listening and your English vocabulary in a profound and inspiring way. We have been taught to admire the leader who always has the answer, the visionary, the lone genius who sees the future with a clarity we do not have. The person in the room who never, ever seems to have doubts. But what if the greatest show of strength is not certainty, but the acceptance of vulnerability? And what if the three most important and courageous words a leader can utter are, "I don't know"? This is the story of David, a legendary architect at the peak of his career, who built an empire on the foundation of his own unshakable certainty. In the architecture of Manhattan, David was the maestro, and his firm the orchestra. His designs were monuments to his vision, minimalist, award-winning, impeccable. They were sculptures of glass and steel that commanded silence and admiration. On his team, his word was not a suggestion. It was the blueprint. He led from the top down, with the absolute certainty of someone who believes that genius is not a collaborative process, but a singular revelation. The challenge that would break this mold came in the form of the most significant project of his career, a community center for a tight-knit and vibrant Brooklyn neighborhood. This was not a corporate skyscraper. It was a space for people, where the walls needed to echo the stories of the community and the structure needed to have a heart. David approached the project, as he always did, isolated in his genius. At the presentation meeting, he unveiled his model. It was, without a doubt, a work of art, a conceptual structure of pure lines, a statement of control and minimalism. He expected the usual applause, but the community didn't see a gift. They saw an invasion. Their words were direct and cutting. "It's cold," said a community leader. "It's an ivory tower that doesn't understand the soul of our neighborhood," said another. For the first time in his decorated career, David's infallible vision was not applauded. It was rejected. The rejection didn't break David. At first, it just angered him. Back in his ivory tower, he treated the problem as he always treated any challenge, with more work, more control. He spent his nights hunched over the model, making small, insignificant changes, moving a window, swapping a material, trying to fix the design, without realizing the design was not the problem. Meanwhile, the pressure from the other partners and the city hall began to mount, like storm clouds on the horizon. Silently, from her desk in the corner of the room, the young architect Maya watched. She grew up in a neighborhood like that one, and understood the community's unspoken language. She saw what David's genius could not see, that the problem was not one of structure, but of spirit, that the community didn't want a sculpture to admire, but a home to inhabit. But how do you tell a maestro that the symphony in his head is wrong? Intimidated by David's reputation, she remained silent. It was late at night, with the office empty and the city glittering outside, that courage found Maya. David was alone, staring at the model, not with the pride of a creator, but with the silent fury of a king facing a rebellion. Seeing the crack in the great architect's armor, seeing his anguish, Maya took a deep breath and walked across the silent office towards him. David turned, ready to dismiss her with an impatient gesture, but Maya spoke first, her voice calm but firm in the office's silence. She didn't criticize his design. Instead, she offered a change of process, a suggestion so bold in its simplicity that it sounded like heresy. "David," she said, "we've spent weeks presenting our vision to them. What if, for the next meeting, we went with no model at all, and just asked them what their vision is?" The idea was so contrary to everything David stood for that his initial reaction was disdain. Go empty-handed, abdicate his vision. It was the opposite of everything that had made him a legend. But while his pride screamed no, the evidence of his failure was right there, in miniature, on the table before him. He looked at his perfect model, which now seemed like a monument to his mistake, and he faced the inescapable truth. His way wasn't working. The silence in the room stretched for a long moment. He looked at the model, and then at Maya's expectant face. And then, the wall of pride, built over decades of acclaim, crumbled. In a voice that was almost a whisper, in an act of vulnerability that cost him everything, he said the three words he had never uttered in his career. "I don't know." He paused, the weight of those words filling the air. And then he added, "Help me." Those two phrases, "I don't know," "help me," changed the architecture of the room and, in the following days, that of the entire firm. David took a step back. He empowered Maya, giving her the lead in the workshops with the community. He attended every meeting, but now, he sat not at the head of the table, but alongside the residents. Instead of a model, he brought a blank sketchbook. For the first time, he didn't go to talk, he went to listen. The new design process was vibrant, sometimes chaotic, but deeply authentic. The perfect blueprint was replaced by walls covered in post-it notes, by sketches based on the residents' stories, the children's wishes, and the needs of the elderly. David's vision wasn't discarded, it was enriched, becoming the technical foundation upon which the soul of the community could build its home. The final design that was born from this collaboration was no longer a cold sculpture. It was a mosaic, a fusion of the firm's expertise with the neighborhood's stories, and when the community center was built, it instantly became the beating heart of the neighborhood. That year, David didn't win the award for most innovative design. The firm won a much more significant one, for civic engagement and social impact. And David's reputation was forever transformed, from a genius architect to a visionary leader. David's journey, from the ivory tower to the heart of the community, teaches us a profound lesson about the true nature of leadership. A leader's strength lies not in having the perfect, unquestionable vision, but in creating a safe space for a collective vision to flourish. His greatest genius was not demonstrated in his award-winning model, but in his courage to admit, "I don't know." His story is an invitation to look at our own lives and ask, in what area are we trying to impose a perfect blueprint, whether in a project, a relationship, or on our own life path? Where might the real solution lie in lowering our defenses, showing up empty-handed, and for the first time, simply listening? If this story about the courage of vulnerability and the power of listening resonated with you, leave a comment below. Like and share this video so this message can find other leaders who need permission to not have all the answers. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that build bridges instead of walls. Until next time, own your vulnerabilities and accept asking for help.